Hi everyone and welcome to the GameFace MPNFL Netball Show. This week we're actually opening with some breaking news, I hear, Christy.
That's right. So we'd like to congratulate Carly Foster from the Dramana Football Netball Club. We've been made aware that she has been nominated as a training partner for the Tassie Magpies in the ANL.
Fantastic.
So it's a huge achievement.
It is a huge achievement. Well done, Carly. And last week we were actually treated with some fantastic thrilling games in the Anzac round, so let's jump straight into those results. How did we go in Div 1, Lou?
That's right, we had some crack games. Match of the round, Sorrento versus Dramana certainly didn't disappoint with a 3-goal win to the Sharks, getting back on the winners list. And Rosebud really showing their dominance this year with an 18-goal victory over EDS. So could this be the year that EDS have knocked off their perch? I'm sure there's a lot of people watching with a lot of interest to see what happens in the next part of the season.
Both navy blue dresses down there in that game.
It was
that a
so
challenge?
hard to tell. I tell you what, my goodness, I was so glad they had the bright orange or bright green bibs, because otherwise, oh my goodness, you'd be thrown to their players every time. So yeah, it was full on.
I'm sure that's what the excuse was.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's roll with that.
And I know Frankston Bombers were pretty excited with their first ever win over YC on Saturday in the D grade. They had a 1-point win, proving again that is the premiership quarter really the third quarter? They had come back by 5 or 6 goals, I think, in that last quarter, and won by 1 in the last 15 seconds of the game.
Wow.
Couple of turnovers, costly turnovers by the YC girls, and that was it.
So they came away with that just one
Just that one win.
Okay.
One win for the day. We still had 6, so we were pretty happy.
Oh, well.
But very interesting to note that the A grade top 5 teams all on 3 wins and 1 loss, all on even points, making it a really fair and even competition this year. So it'll be. Yeah, I know there's a couple of players. I mean, Mornington had a dominant win over Mount Eliza this week, but interesting to see when they come up against some of those bigger teams how they actually go. I don't think they've had too hard a run yet, so really looking forward to seeing how the ladder starts to even out over the coming
really
weeks.
starting to get interesting now, isn't it? We're starting to see some really interesting results. And how about Div 2, Chrissy?
Likewise, just some fantastic results that came through across Division 2 on the weekend. So we actually had 2 draws through the A-grade competition. So Tyab and Langwarren drew, and also Devon Meadows and Rye. So, when we talk about how close our competition is, to be able to have that, this early on in the season, I think is really showing that it's very even. It could be anyone's game. Somerville A grade came away with a surprising win. There was lots of messaging that came through to me at the conclusion of that game, just wondering what had happened. So
How did you do it?
yeah, I think there was a few clubs who wanted to know what the secret was. So that was a surprise win, which was fantastic by Somerville, because that was the only win that had come across from that day. There was a lot of Coringal footballers that were in the club rooms at the end of the day that weren't happy, because that destroyed their cheap drinks at the end of the day. So sorry, fellas. And it's just a lot of other close games across the board. So we had C grade, Crib Point defeating Chelsea just by a goal, and Devon Meadows defeating Rye by just a couple of goals. So there's just not an easy game now, and it's just really coming down to the line. So I'm really excited about the season that we're
It does make the season very exciting. And I wonder too, with each week being just depending how the team goes on the day, does that come back to the commitment that we've got from our players that we touched on last week?
Definitely.
But looking at that, I made a point last week about the Bomb Beach having getting smashed by EDS in the B grade, and then this week they've bounced back nearly a 60-goal turnaround to have a draw with Pines. Another close game, very close game. Can't get closer than a draw.
That's true.
But was that commitment from their B grade team, where they missing people over Easter, and that really hurt them? It could be the meaning if they turn their season around and start getting some wins on the board, a final appearance or not. And that's all come down to the commitment.
Yeah, and I appreciate that this was a challenging week. So with Easter and Anzac all falling in the same week, so I know that I took the annual leave days and had the extended break across there, but still managed to get to the games. I didn't head away, just took some time off work, but it really is just a deciding, someone could say, yep, came across with a win, follow them up next time around, and, the result could be very different depending on who's fielding the side. So, yeah, look,
I know the group in the mood this weekend is probably going to put a lot of teams out. missing some players. I know I'm missing a couple, but I'm sure.
And I think it's hard, isn't it? Because as we discussed last time, in a netball team, it only takes a couple of players to be out for it to make a really big difference to your side. So
100%. So you throw in some injuries that are coming, early on in the season.
Yes.
There's some girls that are already pulling up with injuries.
The new premium player rule, they can only have 3 on the court in A grade at one time. So does that mean B graders have to step up because they can't actually, or if there's female players out, the B graders have to step up?
And I can say across the Mornington Peninsula, right up to EDS and Chelsea, there's not a plethora of players that we could just call upon and say, can you come and fill in for my A grade side, because there just really isn't a top quality player that's not connected to a team.
And now they're coming into round five this week, so you really start to see how teams can actually play players across multiple grades. It's getting thin now. There's not much opportunity. If you've played a couple of games across both grades, it's now and that locks you in.
Yeah, well, that brings us to our next topic, Lou, is actually that the rules changed this year. They only play 6 games to lock you into your grade. So I wonder how that's going to affect some of the results this year.
Yeah, for me it's an interesting one. I wasn't really, when I was surprised it went through.
I agree.
Particularly. I just
we think maybe it was 8 last year. Is that right?
It was definitely 8 last year that tied you to a team. And is there a big difference between 8 and 6?
2 games in a season, I think.
When you look at it across the season, when you've got players' commitment playing in different grades, that extra 2 games across a team is quite different. It's particularly for managers looking after the teams and seeing players. You can play a couple of girls at the start of the season who are a bit stronger, knowing that they will handle it, and then there's players that come up in the end of the season that can play those games, but when they're tied into teams that might not necessarily be the case.
Yeah, I really think that with the premium player rule that it could have stayed with the 8 games, because I think that really counteracts that particular stronger player being able to fall down to the lower grades anyway. And I know that it can happen through B players falling down to C and D, etc. But I really think that it was probably those premium players that they wanted to ensure couldn't play through all of the grades in the earlier rounds. So considering that that's not the case, I really think that 8 games would have been suitable for this season.
Just gives you that little bit more flexibility,
especially when we're talking about trying to manage and juggle your selections when you've got people out and you start to see injuries come into it this time of year as well. That would make it more difficult, I would think, to try to field a team if you're restricted by who you can play.
Like even just the little things around how many games a girl's got to play before they are eligible for finals. We've got some players that will be returning from overseas, so they've gone on long trips, who will come back towards the end of the season, and I'm frantically looking at how many games will
they played enough?
Will they play enough to be eligible for finals? If that was the case, we were lucky enough to play. And again with people who are injured, returning from injury, pregnancies, those type of things. So there's so many things that we've got to navigate through as team managers and coaches.
Do you think, given that it's 6 games to lock you in, should it be 6 games to qualify rather than
why is it
8?
different?
Why is it different? What do you think?
I think one bylaw probably was changed and the other one was forgotten about. So I think it's it makes sense that it might as well be the same.
100%.
Yes, I agree. And we'd love to hear what you guys think as well. Do you think that 6 games is enough? Too many? Spot on? Let us know what you think by jumping into the comments section.
Might make some interesting results as of round 7, when we know that there's people who aren't able to move around any further.
6 games.
Definitely. So time for our rumour file now, Christy.
Okay, well, you know what, guys? It's all a bit sad.
That is a bit sad. We don't have any.
There's no rumours that have come through, so
that means you need to get on and email or message the GameFace Facebook and let us know what's happening out there.
Definitely.
Please,
So we're across 3 clubs, but there are a lot of other clubs that we're not aware about. So let us know what's happening, what you're hearing. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be about your own club. It just might be around what your thoughts around the rules are, whatever it might be. But
something you've heard along the traps.
That's right.
There's a lot of ears and a lot of talking that happens on sidelines. So
a
few things.
Netballers would never be like that. So shoot that through to us, and hopefully next week we've got something new to share with you all.
Nice juicy goss, please.
Yeah. Or you could just call me and look at things and make things up.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
All right, guys. So let's have a look at our upcoming games for tomorrow. What are we looking at in Div 1, Lou?
Div 1, we have a couple of really good matchups. Sorrento versus EDS will definitely be the big one this week.
It's going to
be a very tough game. EDS will be wanting to bounce back, and I think Sorrento will be wanting to get another win on the board just to prove where they are at with those top level games. Also really looking forward to YC Rosebud. YC coming off their first win last week, finally got across the line, and just interesting to see where they're at when they can put their 4 quarters together and really push some of these top teams. And I think Pines versus Frankston Bombers in the lower grades is going to be another. Pines they're just kind of sitting a little quietly under there in their top games. I think their A grade Pines will have Bombers covered with their performances of late, but be good to see what happens across there. I know there's a bit of confidence coming out of the C and D grade at Bombers after their close games with us this week, so it'll be good to see what happens.
Yeah, you can't forget the lower grades. It's very easy just to be able to look at what the matchups are across the A grade, but you know, if you're playing C or D grade, you're wanting to fight for that flag just as equally as much as the girls in the higher grades.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be really different between what the matchups might be across those higher grades.
It's interesting to see when it's different too, when you see some clubs are quite strong across all 4 grades, and then there are others where they're good higher and not lower, and then the opposite as well. Yeah, that's right.
Or they might be like the B and C or in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle they're very strong.
So it'll be interesting to see how those ones play out.
Definitely. And how about Div 2, Christy?
Look, there's no real games that are standing out for me for this round. That said, I think that, you know, based on last week's results, you know, they're all going to be really close.
What about Crib Point Seaford?
Yeah, look, there wasn't a rumour about it. I can give you the exact the tip about it is that Tracy Dell, who is the goalkeeper for Seaford, injured her ankle last week. So unfortunately, I know that she'll probably be sitting out this game. That said, that probably means that the coach and her older sister, Megan, will probably have to step on. So a big cheer to the older girls who have to get back out onto the court. She's a very experienced player and will be able to step on, but I still think that there might be a little bit of a gap there. So Crib Point, still my flag favourites, I think will be able to get across the line there. Coringal Langwarrin, I think, is probably the highlight for me across the A grade. Coringal, yes, they lost last week. I think that might have been various factors that came into that, not necessarily, the superstar effort of Somerville. I can say that because I was on the court. So I think that one will be, if they've got all of their players from both sides, that'll be a ripper game. And even Devon Meadows Tyab. Devon Meadows didn't have a great week last week, and Tyab, it will definitely be a finals team, I think. So across the board, Devon Tyab across all grades, I think will be some pretty solid games. Yeah,
awesome. So it's been great to see so many clubs using the live score feature on our GameFace app. So definitely keep that up, guys. If you want to actually jump on and be able to do that for your club, just make sure you inbox the GameFace page and they'll get you the link so that you can do that. I actually did that last weekend on the Saturday and it was great, just really easy to use. It's fantastic and nice to be able to keep up with the scores as the day goes on. It's good to keep an eye on the other results as well. It's really good.
I think that's how everybody was messaging me after our A grade game last week, that they all knew the results and wanted to know what had happened. So it's fantastic that there is so much communication as well between clubs, that we're all talking around what's happening across the teams, and it's a fantastic competition that we've got.
It's very good, yes. Yeah, I was just going to say thanks again to Frankie Media. for their support of the GameFace MPNFL Netball show. If you need business cards, signage, flyers, brochures, anything like that, jump onto frankiemedia.com.au for all your business needs.
And also a big thanks to our sponsor Swift's Locker for their support. If you need beanies, scarves, jackets, umbrellas, or I did hear an ugly sweater earlier to keep you warm and dry this season, check out swiftslocker.com.au.
All right, and this week I'm excited to be able to let you all know that we've had Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas come on board.
Before you go in, delicious pizzas. Get down there. Well, we went down there on Friday night, and I think we just kept ordering pizza because it was so good.
Sounds like a good team dinner night.
So Trish, who is the A-grade coach down at Hastings, has been fantastic to come on board and has been generous enough to donate a food and drink voucher for one lucky winner of the game of the round. So we will be selecting a game each week where across all grades that we feel is probably going to be the most hotly contested, not necessarily the clubs that are sitting on top of the ladder, just something that's going to be of interest. And we'll get somebody out to the games to see who's the best on court, and they will be the winners of the Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas Player of the Week.
Awesome, get around it.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to seeing that throughout the year. On next week's show, this is the one that you don't want to miss, and that is we are talking about all things Premier players. So there's been a lot of talk about this. I know that I get a lot of messages from both my players and also from other clubs. So we're going to really dissect everything to do with premium players for next week. So I think that is a show that you don't want to miss.
Fantastic, and I think the league's having a meeting about it this week, so it would be great to see what comes out of that as well.
Yes.
Yeah, an operations meeting for all of netball, but I think premium players will take up a lot of the agenda this week.
Yeah, so the meeting was held this week, and so we will look at how it all falls, what the clubs thought, what was discussed through that the operations meeting that's happened this week, to be able to come back to you with everything that we've found out about premium players.
Yeah, 100%. And if you have an opinion on it out there, to be like, just message us and let us know. We want to discuss what you guys have thoughts on and what you're thinking about the premium player rules. So do you think it's working? Do you think there needs to be changes?
I can't wait because I'm very opinionated on the topic and I look forward to discussing it.
Thanks so much for joining us, guys, and we can't wait to tune in next week.
Fantastic.
See you guys.
Cheers.